The Black Sea has been contested for centuries. Russia in 2014 only controlled 20% of its shores. But with the annexation of Crimea and the current war in Ukraine, they are expanding its influence. Here in Sevastopol is the headquarters of the Russia's Black Sea Fleet, which commands bases in the Sea of Azov and in the Mediterranean. But they need to cross these two straits to exit the Black Sea, and these are controlled by Turkey. This is a dependency for Russia which they have aimed to solve for several centuries. These choke points are an important part of military strategy. Whomever wields control can influence who leaves and enters the Black Sea, but it's also a vital trade route. Russia's economy in 2021 was for 41% dependent on oil and gas. More than a third of this was shipped through these straits. This is how Turkey checkmates Russia with hindsight. In the 18th century, the Ottoman Empire controlled most lands that bordered the Black Sea until Russia declared war. The Russians proved to be much stronger, and they annexed land on Black Sea's northern shores. One outcome of this war was that the Crimean Khanate gained its independence, but they were later annexed by Russia through military means, and they established the city of Sevastopol. From this moment onwards, Russia became a Black Sea power, and Sevastopol was its regional headquarters. The Ottoman Empire, however, was still controlling the only way out of this sea. In 1853, the Russians went to war against the Ottoman Empire. Their geostrategic goal was to capture these choke points and to gain control over more territory that was bordering the Black Sea. But the Ottomans fiercely resisted the Russian offensive. They received help from Sardinia, France, and Britain, who were trying to hold the Russian expansion, and they wanted to maintain the balance of power in Europe. Russia was eventually defeated. They ceded territory on the Black Sea, but presumably started planning an offensive on Constantinople. This is where historians disagree. Some have argued that Russia's entry into World War I was motivated to capture these straits. The Ottomans sided with Germany, and during the First World War, they closed the straits to strangle the Russian economy. The Ottomans eventually lost the war, and in 1923, Turkey was proclaimed a republic. The Ottoman Empire was now officially dissolved. This led to a new power dynamics in the region. After years of negotiations, it was agreed that Turkey gets the key to the straits. This was a new chapter in a long struggle over a vital waterway. This is the document that both the Soviet Union and Turkey signed. It says that merchant vessels not belonging to a country at war with Turkey shall enjoy freedom of transit and navigation in the straits. On the topic of vessels of war, it says that Black Sea powers shall have the right to send them through the straits. For non-Black Sea powers, there are several limitations on the size of the vessel and the weaponry it is allowed to carry. This agreement put the straits firmly within Turkish control. Then, the Second World War started, and Turkey tried to remain neutral. They allowed for German and Italian ships to use the straits for operations in the Black Sea. After the war came to an end, the Soviet Union protested. It started with the Turks receiving a note from the Soviets. The content of this note was released a few days later. The Russians critiqued the transit of the German ships during the war, explaining that Turkey did not conform with the interests of security of the Black Sea powers, and did not assure conditions which would prevent the use of the straits for hostile aims directed against the Black Sea powers. Russia proposed 5 changes, amongst which to organize by joint means the defense of the straits. In other words, Russia wanted to have a military presence near these choke points, and this was refused by Turkey. the Soviet Union responded with a strong military show of force. This further motivated Turkey and as well Greece to join NATO shortly thereafter. Russia never attacked nor managed to establish a military presence near the straits. And with the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, Russia's sphere of influence further diminished. Georgia and Ukraine became independent countries, and this put large port cities, including Sevastopol, where their Black Sea fleet is headquartered, outside their direct influence. The Black Sea Fleet in 1997 was split between Russia and Ukraine, with Russia getting 81% and Ukraine 19%. Russia's influence then further continued to decline. In the early 2000s, the Rose Revolution in Georgia and the Orange Revolution in Ukraine were popular uprisings to establish pro-Western governments and to reduce Russian influence. Around the same time, Bulgaria and Romania both joined NATO. 3 out of the 6 Black Sea powers were now NATO members, and 2 were working in close partnership with the West. The Western buildup around the Black Sea challenged the notion that Russia could maintain its influence through non-military means. In 2008, Russia invaded Georgia. Shortly thereafter, they recognized Abkhazia and South Ossetia. The EU in 2009 proposed its Eastern Partnership to all nations on the Black Sea, which would further decay the post-Soviet economic sphere of influence. Russia responded by launching the Eurasian Economic Union, which had only limited success near the Black Sea. Armenia was the only near Black Sea power that joined the alliance. Russia then resorted to more aggressive military means. With the annexation of Crimea, they placed the Black Sea Fleet on Russian territory, and they established a platform for power projection in the region. They began expanding its facility in Syria, and they made a deal with the government of Cyprus to dock its warships. NATO sent additional troops to its eastern allies, including over 1,000 troops to Romania. This was followed by NATO's Black Sea exercise Sea Shield 2017. This exercise included nearly 3,000 soldiers. Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, and Turkey all participated. NATO's exercise was hardly a subtle way to flex its muscles in front of Russia. As long as Turkey is a NATO member and as long as they control this choke point, they have the strategic advantage. It's uncertain whether the war in Ukraine will lead to a new attempt by Russia to control the strait, but the geostrategic factors of Russia in the Black Sea have not changed since the 18th century. Hey, which one of these thumbnails do you like better? Let me know by clicking on your favorite.